I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where I'm working with you step by step through the ABRSM Theory Grades. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets and you can download those in US letter or A4 and they accompany each step of this series. You'll find a page there with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can also find information about the books that I have available. I've written an exam technique guide, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of tips and techniques on how to best prepare for your exam and also how to make the best use of your time on exam day. So if you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find it's all there. If you can give me a like, that would be super, that would be really fab, and please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more in the pipeline, and now we're going to continue with the specimen paper at the end of the 2015 Grade 4 past paper booklet. So if you turn with me to page 23, we're going to have a look at question 4. And so this question is all about writing out some scales, so you need a good grasp on your related major and minor keys and their key signatures, and also the rules of the various minor scales. Now I always suggest that before you even start a paper, you just quickly jot down all of your major and minor related keys with the key signatures, and you can just quickly do that by working through the circle of fifths. That way you can just do your thinking all at once, and then you can relax and just refer back to it. If you're not sure about how to do that, I've done a tutorial. You can find the link to the video on how to explain this tutorial of the circle of fifths. You'll find the link in the description below or in the cards, and then you'll be able to quickly just get that information down and then keep referring back to it. So now we need to add the correct clef, and we also need to add any sharps or flats. We're not required to use a key signature, but we need to bear in mind what the key signature would be and then how to just adjust that to make it the harmonic minor version. So first job is to add the correct clef, and so we need to begin and end on G for this to be any sort of G scale, and for that to be the case it must be treble clef. So if we just pop in a treble clef, that's job done. And now we need to think about G minor in general. So G minor is related to B flat major. And you can see I've just thought of that all through before we even start. We'd have a key signature of B flats and E flats. B flats and E flats is what we need to do. Now if you're not sure about reading in the treble clef, it depends what instrument you play, whether you're familiar with this clef. If you find it difficult, just sort of sketch out your letters, G, A. Remember we're working upwards because it's harder counting backwards. B, C, D, E, F, G, or you can go backwards, G, F, E, D, and so on. So we want B flats as an accidental, E flats as an accidental. Now that takes care of what would be our key signature. And now to make this the harmonic minor, we need to raise the seventh. Remember we're descending, so this is 8, 7, 6. So there's our seventh that needs raising from an F natural to an F sharp. Don't think that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because actually that's the second, first and second, third, fourth. Remember to reverse it when the scale descends. So that's now completed, and we'll go on to the next one. So then we're now required to write the key signature of E major, and then we're going to write one octave ascending. We're writing in semi-breves or whole notes, so there's no need to worry about stems. So first of all, let's get the key signature. E major has 4 sharps. Write them in the correct place. F, C, G, D, and then we need to start at a pretty low E so that we can raise. So if you think that's a G, good boys deserve, so G, F, E is a ledger line. You're going to have to use ledger lines somewhere along the way, and if you start up here you're going to end up using 2 ledger lines at the top. Doesn't matter where you start, just it's perhaps a bit easier to start there. So line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All cows eat. So we've got line space all the way up. We've begun and ended on E, and we've got the correct key signatures. So there we go. That's quickly done. Let's move on. So if you turn over the page with me to page 24, we're just going to do a little bit of clef shifting here. So we need to make sure that we get the octave the same because we need to keep the same pitch. But we need to swap clef so it's exactly the same note represented in a different clef. And the best way to do that is to use middle C as an anchor point so that you don't end up in some random octave and get it wrong. So here, this is middle C. This is the C, D, E above middle C. So in the treble clef, here is middle C. We don't need that line, but I'm just going to sketch it there as a reference point. C, D, E takes us here. So I can get rid of that little ledger line now. And so we've got exactly the same pitch, but we're now in treble clef. So now let's think about this. Here's middle C, where this middle part of the clef is. C, B, A, C, B, A, G sharp. So let's think where middle C is. So there's C, B is the space, A is the line, G is the space. That's the G sharp below middle C. Now we're going quite high up. So we've got C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. The C above middle C. So that's there. If you're not sure about that though, if you count from middle C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there we go. We know that's correct. So just get rid of those now. And so now we're doing a similar process, but we're going from bass to alto clef. So if you think about it, here's middle C. If we count down how many intervals we are away, how many steps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or you can quickly just think 1, 3, 5, 7, jumping down the lines. So 7 below middle C. Here's our middle C. 1, 3, 5, 7 means we'll require a ledger line, and we're there. Now here's middle C at the top of the bass clef. This is C, D, E, 1, 2, 3 above middle C. So there's middle C, C, D, E, 1, 2, 3 above. There we go. So now we're going to have a look at this next question. So we're asked to rewrite this melody with the notes correctly beamed. So we've got to group these notes, and we always have to group or beam the notes to reflect the unit value of the time signature. So we need to be showing where each crotchet beat falls. Now we've got lots and lots of increments of notes here. So we need to just think what's going on here. And so we've got a half a beat here. We've got 2/8 which make a quarter. I'm just going to get rid of that so I don't confuse matters. And then we've got another quarter of a beat here. 2 quarters make a half, plus another half is 1. And so there is 1 crotchet beat. So again, we've got a quarter of a beat here. 2/8 make a quarter, 2/8 make a quarter, 2/8 make a quarter. So 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters of a beat make a whole. So there's our next crochet beat, and we need to reflect those groups in our beaming. So here we've got quarter, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see that visually we can see 1, 2, 3, 4 make a beat, and we can see how those 2/8 of a beat make a quarter. So I just have to visualize it like that. So quarter, 2, 3, 4 quarters, 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters, so they're together. Got a few more tricky increments to go here. So we've got a quarter here, 2/8 make a quarter, 2/8 make a quarter, and there we've got a quarter. So 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters make a whole of a beat. So there's one crotchet beat or 1 quarter note. 1, 2, 3, 4 quarter of a beat make a whole beat. That's 4 semiquavers make a crotchet, or 4 16th notes make a quarter note. Same again here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here we've got this one left on its own. You can see we're going to have to do something else with this bit in the next part of the question, but we won't worry about that just yet. And you can see that at the moment this would be absolutely horrendous to perform, because there's no way of just seeing where each beat falls, and the difference will be quite amazing, and it's so much easier to play once you've grouped it into those unit beat values. So before I do any of that though, now we've done the thinking really, but I'm just going to get these note heads in. So let's just get all the bits and bobs in place, because we may have to do a little bit of thinking about which way the stems are going to go. I'm keeping everything aligned so that I'm not going to run out of space, and I'm correctly giving the correct distance to reflect the note values, because you'll notice a longer note has a bigger gap, generally speaking. Just another visual way of making it easier to read. So you can see these are a little further apart now, because we're dealing in a quarter of a beat, not an eighth of a beat. Very tiny increments though, these units are. So nearly there. Just being careful to get the note heads in the right place. Just be careful where you place those blobs. I suppose better colour them in thoroughly. Top G. Natural sign. Nearly there. Perhaps a bit small on my note heads as I'm rushing. There we go. Okie dokie. So we know that these are going to be grouped together. Now this one is below the middle line, and so technically that should go up for the stem. But as these are all above the middle line, they're going to need to come down. And so the group is ruling that the stems come down, and this one is outvoted. So it's stems down. So beam all of those together. And then we just need to show which ones are the quarter beats and which ones are the whole beats. So from here to here we'll need 2 lines. This is just a quaver, an eighth note, so that stays as it is. But then these 2 here in the middle are going to need another line to show that they're demi-semiquavers or 32nd notes. So there we go. There we can see one unit beat properly reflected in the way it's beamed. So now all of these are going to have to be beamed from here to here. So let's just get that first beam in place. Then the stems, these are all above the middle line, so these are obviously all coming down. There's no doubt about that. This one can go either way because it is the middle line. So they're all going to need at least 2 beams, because they're all at least a semiquaver here as well. Oops. There we go. So there's our semiquaver. However, now these last in the group after this first one need another line because they are demi-semis. So there we go, 1, 2, 3. So now these are semis, so we're going to need 2 lines. These are needing to be beamed. So then we need to decide, this one should come down, but these 3 need to come up, so this one's outvoted. So this one's going to have a stem coming up for the sake of these others in the group. We need to show that they're semis or 16th notes, and then we can join those together. Same again here. This one should come down, but these need to go up because they're below the middle line, so this one's outvoted. So they will all have to come up so that we can group those together. Again, they're semiquavers, so we need another beam. We can pop those stems in place. You can see we've done all the thinking now. And there we can definitely see beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4. So much easier to read, so much easier to play. So now we're going to have here, from here to here beamed. Now these are all going to have to come down. This is the only one that needs to go up, so this one's outvoted. So from here to here will be beamed. So we'll just put one beam for now. Now, because there are such tiny increments, there's a choice here what we can do. And so if I show you the first option first, of course. So they're all going to need at least two lines to show that they're at least semiquavers. Now here, what we could do to show each kind of half of a beat, we could have that and then that showing the two halves of a beat separately. So you could either just do those separately to show there's the first half of the beat, there's the second half of the beat, or you could have the line going straight through. It's entirely up to you. And so these are all going to come down now. We'll group this in a 4. And you can see as the general direction is coming down, I'm just doing a slight diagonal to show the general direction. Again, these are all going to come down. This can go either way. We're beginning and ending in the same place, so I'll keep that level. And these must come down. And then here is our one little semiquaver on its own at the end. And so now we've got this gap to deal with. So question B asks us to add the correct rest at the place marked with a star to complete this last bar. So we know that it should be 4 crochet beats per bar. So we've got 1 crochet beat here. Oh, I've missed a line there. We've got 1 crochet beat here, 1 crochet beat here. Now we've only got a quarter of a beat at the moment. If you can see, there's our semiquaver note. We've got 3/4 left. And so really we finish this quarter and then there's the half. We could do that. Alternatively, you could do it in one go with a dotted quaver rest, a dotted 1/8 note rest. So quite a bit of thinking in this question here. However, if you take it a step at a time, it's easy enough to work through. You've just got to take it a step at a time and just work steadily through each aspect. I take one step at a time, so I don't worry about the stems until I've done the thinking of where my beats are going to fall and how my beaming is going to work. I do hope that's helpful to you. I hope that you're enjoying working through this. I certainly am. And I hope if it's of benefit to you. If you can give me a like, that would be super. And please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more to come. And please do visit sharonbill.com and make use of all of the resource and information that's available to help you there. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.